could not read. I could not hear the voiceover that you have sent it me. Okay. Who are you first of all? Where you come from, brother?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes. Thank you, brother. Yes, I'm Mikhael Massa, and I wanted to know where you come from.
I come right now. I'm from and born in the San Francisco Bay Area of California.
Oh, wow, in Americas.
Yes, I'm calling from the West Coast.
Wow, nice. Yes, I have uploaded a video from our American brothers. They went over to Angola. They're doing well there. Oh, and I like it and I enjoyed the movie because it was so nice to see them to wake up. And I hope other of our brothers will do that too. So you just called me
Yeah,
because of an topic that you saw. Did the Bantus talk to the ancestors or something like that?
yes,
So do you have questions
exactly.
or
Uh,
do you want to say something about that? I have the Bible open here.
yeah,
So if you tell me verses or stuff, I can read it straightly.
Ezekiel chapter 30,
Okay.
verse 26.
I'm in Germany. Let me change the language.
Very good.
So Ezekiel 30 and 26.
26. Yes, please.
Okay. It says, "And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations and disperse them among the countries, and they shall know that I am the Most High." Hallelujah. So,
Okay,
what do you say about that verse? Do you want to say something?
okay. Well, in America, when you look at the back of the dollar bill, you will find ancient symbology from Kemet. This whole country was established with certain principles that were stolen or adopted from the ancient land of Kemet. And for a lot of us, we didn't understand why. When we got to the Hebrew Israelite movement, many Hebrew Israelite camps teach that the back of the dollar symbolizes the enslavement of the Hebrew Israelites in America because the Hebrew Israelites built the pyramids and were slaves in bondage in the land of Egypt. That's what they teach. Well, one thing that never settled with me was that in the land of Kemet, there's no record of Hebrew slaves building pyramids. And in fact, the pyramids predate the actual existence and the timeline of when Hebrew Israelites would have even been on earth. So I have to look at these things from an analytical standpoint, always, because when we are so removed from our own histories and cultures, and when we are given someone else's history, we must be very careful on how we pursue what we esteem to be the truth. And that has always been my standpoint, but I recognize that everyone does not follow suit or believe in that manner. So why am I saying all of this? Why did I feel the need to reach out to you? Well, what I said in the message to you was in 2015, I decided to, well, first of all, I had been teaching the word for some time. I have a channel as well on YouTube called The Steady TV. I've released multiple videos teaching the Bible, sharing the biblical histories of our people, the narrative, and I stand alone like you do. I speak very calmly, peacefully, assertively, with much study, and it's always my hope that the word reaches those who it is meant to reach. Now, with that being said, in 2015, I obviously had been aware of Tzariak, ISUPK, the different camps out there, and I must say right now that I grew to be very discouraged at that group of brothers. I grew to be very saddened by the things that they would say and speak, and I began to be very upset that people were beginning to lean on them as a representative of the movement in a whole. And it's almost heartbreaking. But you said something in the video that I referred to you, that you have, your video. And you said it's breaking, paraphrasing. You said that they're done. And I believe you are correct. That hatred that has been spewing out is beginning to cease. That energy is beginning to wane away. And people in this country are beginning to really, really look deeper into what has been presented to them on all sides. So, 2015, I decided to take DNA tests. I took 2 different tests at the time from 2 different companies, and I got the similar results with both tests. Now, the first company was a forensic analysis company, and they are a company who specialize in forensics, paternal DNA, like, if you wanted to identify the child is yours, in this sort of thing. And so I used them because they weren't promoted as much and they weren't as popular and as other companies, and I knew that they were going to deliver results that were based off a forensic approach. In 2012, the scientists in Britain extracted DNA from Pharaoh Ramses III's mummy. They wanted to prove that he was European in descent. Well, it was a peer-reviewed study from multiple agencies, and when the results came in, it blew their minds, and it confirmed what we all knew, that Pharaoh Ramses III was not a European, but he was an African man.
Whoa.
Now, they tested his paternal DNA. They wanted to see what his paternal bloodline was. Now, I'm talking about Pharaoh Ramses III.
Oh.
He is an African man, and I do not like the term sub-Saharan, because sub denotes that it is less than. But he is an African from the Central Valley, okay? And his DNA was E1B1A. And he had a particular marker called M20. So I decided to also check to see. I paid for my paternal bloodline to be established, as well as to see if it carried that very specific identifying marker. Now, when I took the test, I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't a little nervous. I was nervous because, unlike our brothers and sisters who live on the continent, who know, many of you all know your deep histories, your deep ancestry, your father's father's fathers, and your mother's mother's mothers. Many of us do not know the information in the States and in the West, in the Americas. And so, not knowing who my great-grandfather was, it kind of made me nervous. Because what if he was a European man? Because the history in this country is the European man. And even though he considered us to be less than animals, he trampled on us and he brutalized us and did all these nasty things. Somehow, some way, our women were still sexual enough for them to want to have sex with them and rape them and harm them. And so, this is something that is an oxymoron, it's a paradox. And many of the children in this country have this skewed ancestry because of the nastiness of the European man. So, with that being said, I didn't know if my great-grandfather was a white man. He could have been. So it kind of made me nervous, because if we are going to go off of the Hebrew Israelite idea of Numbers chapter 2, you are who your father is, well then yeah, if my dad is black but his dad is white, his dad was white, well then I'm essentially a European and not an African, because the seed within my blood would be a European seed, even though outside externally I appear to be an African. So this is a troubling situation for many, especially the camps, especially the leaders of these Hebrew camps, because they teach you are who your father is, but they are also aware that maybe in their direct paternal bloodline, there might be a white man in there. And if there is, well, then they cannot be Hebrew Israelites. You see the conundrum. So I tested my DNA and thanked the Most High that my paternal bloodline and my maternal bloodline are 100% African. Thank you.
Hallelujah.
But when I got paternal bloodline back, it revealed that I am a direct descendant of Ramses III. Me and Ramses carry the same paternal bloodline. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Immediately, I begin to say, how can I be a child of Israel, of Jacob, if I am a direct descendant of the people who supposedly enslaved the Israelites? Dun dun dun. So I had to keep digging. Then, at the same time, my maternal DNA, it came back as a certain today. But what is interesting is that DNA is classified as Bantu. Okay? It is classified as Bantu. They do not give a specific nation that it belongs to. They just say Bantu. And it is up to me to do the due diligence to identify what peoples it points back to. So,
Okay.
I wanted to share that with you because the video, you mentioned that in the West, in the America, there is a possible mixture of Ham and Bantu expressions. And
Yes.
that is something that I wanted to add to Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 26, in that, what if, instead of me being an Israelite and a descendant of these enslaved people that we thought were Israelites, what if the majority of African Americans, so-called African Americans, are truly Egyptians?
Yes. They're mixed.
What is your take, man?
Very nice testimony. I enjoyed it, and it was very powerful. Yeah, and I feel with you, because it's always hard, yeah, to hear from our brothers, yeah, that how they live in the new Egypt today. The new Egypt from today is America. How they were hung, raped, and all those things. This is too much. But we are a new generation, and it is written in the book of Daniel. Yeah, it's written that he should shut down the book. Yeah, the truth. Still, the time has come to open it, and the time of the white people is going to end. This means we are no more. We are no more slaves like we were in 100 years before. Now it's time to prepare ourselves, because the Most High want to lift us up, and that's why it's okay now to find out who you are. It's very important. And I have some Bible verses for you here. The first Bible verse I want to give it to you, only just to show you that I do not think like the most people. Yeah, I do not think like the most people. What I want to say about that, I have a special lesson. I have a special lesson about salvation. I go to Timothy. This is the first Timothy. Do you have your book open? And it will be good if you write those verses down. Now, this is the first Timothy 4. First Timothy 4, chapter 12. No, verse 12. Let's start with verse 12. Now it says, "Let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, and purity. Now, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Now, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which is given thee by prophecy, with the laying on the hands of the prosperity." So I believe that Ngunzas, like I am young, I'm very young, but I am in Ngunza. That's why prophets, yeah, the Most High gave them the power to go to seal people. Timothy, he was sealed. That's why he become an Israelite.
It's so difficult to hear you right now.
Okay.
It's so difficult to hear.
Wait, I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, do you hear me better now? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me better? Now, I say,
that's good. This is
good. Timothy, yeah, he getting the spiritual baptism. The spiritual baptism.
Yeah.
After getting the spiritual baptism of a prophet or elders, you become a Hebrew Israelite. You can be even white. You understand that? Because you will be a Hebrew Israelite, not by blood. This is Romans 9, but by spirit and truth. And the gift inside of you will show you what kind of work you will do for the Most High. Okay? Only to tell you, only to show you that I totally don't think like other people think. Because I know the truth of the Levites. I know what kind of work in Matthew 10 and 8. If we go to Matthew 10 and 8, it says, yeah, I know our work, the work of all Hebrew Israelites outside there. You will become not a Hebrew Israelite by word. You are a Hebrew Israelite by your baptism. I tell you, you have to confess your sins. You have to be newborn. And this will make you a Hebrew Israelite. Not by bloodline. Not by bloodline, my brother and sister. Even white people will join in the Hebrew, will be Jews, Hebrew Israelites. Even Chinese, even Indians, brother. I can prove it easily. Because the Most High is the Lord of hosts. He has nothing to do with the flesh. This is color, but he's the Lord of hosts. He's looking inside your body and looking in your heart. Now, this is Matthew 10 and 8. It says, "Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out the devils, freely ye have received and freely give." So this is our job. You see? Now, let's go to the you are Egyptian stuff. There is no Israel in the Middle East. Do you believe that?
Oh, yes.
There is only a Egypt in the Middle East. Now, I want to show you something. If we go to Jeremiah...
Well, Egypt,
yes, it's Egypt. This is Egypt. The Middle East from today is Egypt. It's not the Middle East. It's not Israel or something like that. It's normal Egypt. This is the problem that we have today.
Are you saying the people in Egypt today are from the Middle East?
Let me show you something.
Or the land that we know?
The land. Israel. I want to say the land. The landmass. The land banks belongs to the Egyptians.
You are 100% correct.
Yes. Now, let me show you something. That's why I'm not against polite and stuff. The only thing that I am against them is they don't know Kinkulu. It's like we have two kind of different spirituality, and they, yeah, if they go 100% to the way of the Egyptians, this means they don't know Tatanzambe Mpungu Tulendo, because our people went out of Egypt and then they started to making our God as a puppet because they learned it from the Egyptians. But we are praying to the Most High directly in spirit. We do not using any puppets, and we do not do not even sacrifices no more. It's over with sacrifices. The Most High never wanted sacrifices. Do you want me to prove you that also? Go to Psalms. Go to Psalms 51.
Okay.
And
that's one of my favorites, man, of all time.
Yes, it's important to know. You must know that. You must know how the people getting saved, because it's our work. The gift of prophecy is inside of every humankind. If the Most High put it in him, you don't have to be a prophet if you want to prophesy. You don't have to heal people. You don't have to be a prophet to healing people. You don't have to be a prophet to do miracles. This is the problem that we have today. The gifts is about the gifts. Now, what do I wanted to show you? I wanted to show you about the
Psalms 51. Psalms 51.
Psalms 51. Yeah. Wait 1 second. Is this your daughter? Psalms 51, 18 and 19. Do you want to read that? Psalm 51, 18 and 19.
Go with your brothers. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, brother. Let me open Psalm 51, 18 and 19. Did you open your book?
Hold on, my brother. Hold on.
Okay. It says, "Do good in thy good pleasure into Zion.
Go ahead.
Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offering and whole burnt offering. Then shalt they offer bullocks upon thine altar." And 70 says, "The sacrifices of Yah are broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O Yah, thou wilt not despise." Did you understand that?
Oh, yes, of course.
He says that he don't want some offering. Yeah, here, 16. "For thou desirest not sacrifices, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Yah are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O Yah, thou wilt not despise." So, to be a Hebrew Israelite, it's you are following. You are a follower of a spirit. You are a follower of our ancestors. So we have two different kind of ancestors. These ancestors that build up the golden calf, the golden in the desert, yeah. And we have another ancestors, yeah. So they comes from the elders. They believe in Yeshua. They believe in a spirit, yeah, that can heal people without without sacrifices and stuff like that. These are the two different spirits we have. We have to, and the most people have to choose one of them. That's why you have. That's why even you have the spirit of, in the Black Panther movie, you have the one of the spirits shows you that how called, one of them want to fight the world, and the other want to help the world with their goods and stuff like that. These are the two spirits in the Black Panther movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me tell you who you are. This is Jeremiah 41. This is Jeremiah 41, 17 to 18. And they departed and dwelt in the habitation of Caim or Shimham, okay, which is by Bethlehem, to go to enter into Egypt because of the Chaldeans, for they were afraid of them, because Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, had slain Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, whom the king of Babylon made governor in the land. Now, people would think, where is Babylon? Where is Bethlehem? Brother, this is African landmass. Our people lived in Egypt. So, some of these Egyptians... Yeah, do you have a question?
Oh, no, I was just saying, come on, bring it out.
Yes, so this means a lot of our people, yeah, a lot of our people lived with the Egyptians together. It's like you people today living with the Americans together. You say you are mixed, the same things happen in Egypt. Okay? Now, watch this. I will give you another precept to that. This is Jeremiah, yeah, 14. This is Jeremiah 42. Jeremiah 42, 14 and 16 says, saying, no, but we will go into the land of Egypt, where we shall see no war, nor hear the sound of the trumpet, nor have hunger of bread, and there will we dwell. And now, therefore, hear the word of the Lord, ye remnant of Judah. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, if ye wholly set your faces to enter Egypt, and go to sojourn there, then it shall come to pass that the sword which ye feared should overtake you there in the land of Egypt, and the famine whereof ye were afraid shall follow close after you there in Egypt, and there ye shall die. So, if you say that you have Egyptian blood, it's a normal thing because we lived in Egypt. Egypt is the land of the Most High. This is the thing that yeah, he chose Egypt first. Yeah, we can read this in, yeah, this is the problem that we have. So the people in America are Africans. And they have to understand that. And if they want to become a Hebrew Israelite, even me, if I want to become a Hebrew Israelite and I am a Bantu from Angola, Banza Congo, but this will not make me a Hebrew Israelite, because if you go to Angola today, we have some Hebrew Israelite, even inside the camps, they are more Hebrew than the people from Angola. Yeah, this is the thing. It's not. You will not be a Hebrew Israelite by blood. No, my brother. It's too easy. This is a game. Do you believe that this is a game? It's a game, brother. It's a big game. And the Most High will not make it so easy for the people. If the people think they can trick the Most High, if they say, yes, we are now, every one of us is a Hebrew Israelite because of bloodline, it's too easy. It's quite too easy, brother. Now, this is Ezekiel 29, 10 and 16 to 16, yeah? Like we have read before.
Okay.
Now we are going to Ezekiel 29, 10 to 16, and it says, behold, therefore I am against thee, and against thy rivers, and I will make thy land Egypt utterly waste and desolate, from the tower of Sion, even into the border of Ethiopia. Not foot of man should pass through it, nor foot of the beast should pass through it. This means Egypt were huge. Egypt were big. Egypt is even this. He's not talking about Israel. He's talking about Egypt. Yeah, and I will make the land of Egypt desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and her cities among the cities that are laid waste shall be desolate 40 years. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and I will disperse them through the countries. Yet thou said the Most High, at the end of the 40 years will I gather the Egyptians from the people with their they were scattered, and I will bring them again the captivity of Egypt, and I will cause them to return into the land of Patros, into the land of habitation, and there shall be there a base kingdom. It shall be the basis of the kingdoms, neither shall it exalt itself any more above the nations. For I will diminish them, that they shall no more rule over the nations, and it shall be no more the confidence of the house of Israel, which brings their iniquity to remembrance, when they shall look after them, but they shall know that I am the Most High. So, I want to tell you something. Do you know that the Israelite will be...
What chapter was that, my brother?
This is Ezekiel 29, 10 to 16, brother.
That's right, okay.
Yeah, only to show you that the Egyptians and the Israelites are one person. These people they call Hamite. These people are among the Hebrew Israelites and the Jews in America. And he will bring the Jews and the Hamites, that they call Hamites, back to Africa. Do you believe that? Do you believe what I'm saying?
But say that one more time. I didn't hear you.
He will bring the so-called Hamites or Egyptians and the Hebrew Israelites back home to Africa. Do you know that?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It's not the Middle East.
No, it's not the Middle East, brother. No.
And yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, you're correct.
Yeah. So if he say that you people have Egyptian bloods, yes, because Hebrew Israelite lived among the Egyptians. They lived there. It's their country. Here, other presets to that before I come to the main thing, so that proves really that the Hebrew Israelite and the Egyptians will come back to Africa. I have here wait 1 second. This is Jeremiah 43 and 7. Jeremiah 43 and 7. It says, so they come into the land of Egypt, for they obeyed not the voice of the Lord. Thus came they even to Taphanes. Even Christ went into Egypt to live there. Why do Christ going into Egypt? Why do he not go to Arabia? Why do he not go to Europe? Why do he not go to Asia? Yeah, inside Asia, India or something like that. Why did he go to Egypt? Same people, Jews living over there, because Egypt and Israel, it's the same. It's the same. There is no difference. And it is not far, because people thinking that that Israel is in the Middle East, but you have to know that there was an upper and a lower Egypt. So Egypt goes even far as Sudan. And this is the problem that we have today. Geography. Geography. Because people don't think about geography. They don't ask themselves about the truth of geography. Now,
That's very true, my brother.
yes, it is true. I know. And it's easy to understand. So that these people like polite and stuff. Yeah, no, really. These people like polite. If you see polite and these people, they are not totally wrong, because they know they are Africans. You cannot deny that. If you say you're a Hebrew Israelite and you say you are not African, so how can that be? Egypt is in Africa.
Correct.
You lived in Africa. You lived for over 400,000 of years in Africa. Your ancestors comes from Africa.
Come on.
You see?
Come on.
So you cannot go further and say, no, you never would have been in Africa. You was only for 30 years, 20 years after that. You went into slavery by ships and stuff. So you're a liar. Where is your heritage?
That hurts the most.
Because even the name of Israel is
that hurts the most.
Yeah, because even the name of Israel is a name that how called the Edomites gave us. This is not the name of the Most High. The Most High have special name of that. He has very special names. This is the names inside the book. But we have a special angel language. This is the thing what the most people don't know. We have a language that's called the language of the angels. And in this language of the angels, you would see many things that is different. All the names that is inside the Bible are different. All the places that they put into the Bible are different. Our identity will be different. That's why I have took some things from this world, from the other world, and it's like how you can make it into the kingdom, salvation. I know how you can be saved, and if you want to be saved, it's not about yes, I'm now a Hebrew Israelite. It's not about bloodline. It's better to have a testimony. He says the people that will come to my mountain, all of them will have a testimony. Okay?
That's right.
Yes, it is right. Yes, it is right. It's deep, but you people there in America, you will understand it, because this is this is the future. This is the super X-Man power that you will have. You will have it after understanding these little things that I'm saying. Because after having these powers, you will be the most of the people in America will be no more like how called stiff-necked, or they will be humbled. They will be humbled because the Most High's gift will dwell in them. And then they will heal the lepers. They will heal the sick. They will do a lot of miracles. Believe it. They will do a lot of miracles. They will save a lot of people, nations. You see, and this is that what I want. The Most High brings separation. He brings the sword, but the sword that he brought is not because of color. The sword that he brought is because of the hosts inside the human body.
Hello?
Do you hear me?
No, say that again.
the Most High brings the sword. The sword that he brought is not to separate the people because of their color, but is to separating people, brother and mother, sister and brother, uncle and aunt, father and mother, because of the spirit of the host that is inside of them. Because because you can be an African and you can have a good heart. You can be a Hebrew Israelite and you can have a good heart. You can be even a Caucasian and you can have a good heart. And this is the difference, yeah, that the Messiah saw. Because he saw his stiff-necked people, they always will run into the they always will obey and go to the how calls to the nations to obey their gods. So what did he do? He say, I want to take them all with me. I want them all. So if you're good, yeah, the Most High wants you. He will give you a job, a spiritual job. So now, I have here something. The Creator says that he would disperse both people, Ham and Israel, but also said he would bring them back on a day that he determined. Ezekiel 29 and 13. Okay? It says, Yet thus saith the Lord, at the end of 40 years will I gather the Egyptians from the people whither they were scattered. Like I told you, we have read it before. And now, where he will want to gather them? Zephaniah 3, 10 and 20. So he will bring them back to Africa, where they come from. We did not come from the Middle East, we come from Africa. Now, if he promised to return the captives of the Egyptians, the families of Ham, including the Sudanese, Cush, and of the Hebrew-speaking people who lived in Central and Southern Africa, it is because he knows that they were taken before captive, many of them by many nations, and that today we are confused, destroyed, because of the glory of Egypt and Sudan. And we are ashamed of it. And if the Creator says that after the punishment of Egyptians, he will finally bring the family of Ham back from the captives to their homeland, which will bring them to the land of Patros, modern Sudan, yeah, because Patros is the modern to Sudan, you have to know that. The place where the family kingdom of Ham in Africa began. If the Creator said he will bring them to Patros, it is because he knows that Ham's family at this time does not live there in Patros. It is necessary to restore these people back to their land and their respective people in the name of justice, and the Most High do this. Will come the time when there will be no more black descendants of people from Africa made slaves of the Americas. Now, the prophecy says, against the Egyptians, the families of Ham, Kamata, Kemet, and the families of Israel, the Hebrew-speaking people living in Central and Southern Africa. Ezekiel 30 and 26. I would scatter the Egyptians among the nations and all the lands of the world. Then they will know that I am the Lord. Ezekiel 29 and 10. Because of this I am now against you and against your rivers. I will turn the land of Egypt into wilderness, from Mikhael to Savannah, from the seer of the borders with Ethiopia. Now, I want just to tell you, yeah, that the Egyptians will never be a bigger kingdom again like there was before, but the Most High will give them a place. That He will give them. They will rule. They will rule like the Israelite rule. They will have one king over them, and this will be Christ. And the southern part and in the middle and in the western coast of Africa to the southern part, he will be there, and he will rule over all the people, all the nations in Africa. Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any question, brother?
Man, my brother, you broke that down very eloquently, very well. Not at this time, because I need to take everything that you just said into consideration. A lot of the things that you spoke, a lot of the scriptures that you share, are scriptures that I'm very familiar with. I think the only question that I would like to discuss with you is the 40-year time period, and if you believe that that 40-year time period is a metaphor for a longer time period, or if it's literal 40 years.
The thing is, time periods in the Bible are always not easy to understand, because I am now not in the spirit. I'm now in the teaching spirit. This is a normal spirit that I have if I'm teaching people. If I would be in the spirit, this means if the Most High, because the Most High Himself is coming upon me. Yeah. Um, if He would be now with me, He could answer this time period.
Okay.
But um, I think it is like it is written. Yeah, that the Egyptians went into slavery. So the Sudanese, the some of these Guinea people, yeah, Guinea, you have Togo, all these people there in the central up to the North Africa. Some of them, not the Morocco people, not this Algeria or, but our black people that
Yeah.
enslaved the Bantu people. Yeah, these people will they are not, they scattered now among the nations, but later they will repent. They will understand that the Most High is the only God. Yeah, the God of Israel, Tatanzamim Pungu Tulendu, that He is over all the gods, the King of hosts. Then they will repent and they will come back to Africa. Yeah, this is the story. This is the whole story. Yeah, and that's
So
why
you said
the Hebrew Israelites, they can't fight the Kemetes, so because the Kemetes, they are not so wrong with the things that they say. There's only some things, the spiritual aspect is not so good. But even the Hebrew Israelites don't know the spiritual aspect.
mm-hmm. I see. So did you say that the Guinea people, I think you said Senegal too?
Yes,
Uh, you said those people enslaved Bantu people at one time?
yes,
Okay. And so I would assume then that the ones doing the enslaving were primarily men.
yes. Why not? Yes, can be. But if
Well, his history would tell us that the men do the enslaving. There's not really much proof that a woman civilization enslaved, people. So what I'm getting to is this. We know that in slave culture, that when people are enslaved, the men often have sexual relations with women.
Mhm.
And if these women who were enslaved were of a different branch of the African family tree, well then their maternal DNA, their mother's DNA would have passed on to their children, regardless of who the father was.
Mhm.
Um, And in this case, these were presumably African people enslaving other African people. And so the DNA would have registered, somewhat similarly. Of course, we have different branches of the family. What I'm getting at is this. There's still proof in what you say genetically that there's a history of that enslavement process taking place at some time. And whether the genetic proof of that process is being manifest today in so-called African Americans or people of the Western Hemisphere, Africans of the Western Hemisphere, or whether or not it has always been there. Well, not always, but going back to that initial period of enslavement on the continent, then you might have something to work with. So in a nutshell, what I'm saying is there's genetic proof that the fathers, the men, would not have been primarily Bantu, and that the mothers are. You can use me as an example. My mother's bloodline is Bantu, according to the different DNA companies that I tested with. But my father's bloodline, they don't classify it as Bantu. You see what I'm saying? They classify it on one platform as Yoruba, and the other platform is just the haplogroup designation with the identifying marker that I specified earlier. So what I'm saying is this: although both bloodlines are African, in root, one is a paternal bloodline that is not being designated as Bantu for whatever reason. So that reason can be manifest now in our conversation. So my question then is, I'm going to then look, because I believe the Bantu male bloodline may be B or A, the A haplogroup or the B haplogroup. I'll look into that. So that's very, very interesting. It's very deep. It's something that I've been focused on for quite a long time, and I'm happy to have made your acquaintance and to have been led to your page and to you. I wish you nothing but more blessings, more time to study, open mind and open heart to what you come across, that you're able to continue to build up your content that you deliver to the people. Please continue to move forward in humility. It's sad, like I said, that a lot of those brothers on that side are choosing to engage in a matter that's more ego and hate driven. But do your best not to be drawn into that energy, man, because it's very difficult to escape once you're in it. And for my channel, I made it a point to not engage in that at all. And so, it's me presenting the content to the people who need it, just like what you do. And if someone needs to reach out to me, I make myself accessible. So
You have to
you have
to help them. You have to help them. The Kemet people. The Kemet people. They are not so wrong. If the Hebrew Israelites say they are not from Africa, this is a lie. It's a lie. Because even here you have Numeri. Then you have Numeri. 12 and 1. Then you see Massa. He married into Egyptian. This means we and the Egyptians we was always marrying each other. We and the Canaanites we married each other. Yeah, we mixed each other with the Canaanites. So many Canaanites women or Canaanites people. The Canaanites worked for the Israelites. So then you have King David, Bathsheba, or you have the camera, the Egyptian camera that get baptized. Yeah, and this is this is Act 8 and 37. So the African people, Yeah, so this people from the Fulani and etc. Yeah, they have to. We have to bring them into the truth. We have to bring them into the truth. Yeah, they are
So you said
lost.
The Fulani are modern day Canaanites?
Yes, we have Fulani, we have Oromo, we have Tutsi. There are a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
Oh yes, we know who the Canaanites are, brother. We know who the Hamites are, brother. We know them very well. Falajas.
Wow.
Yes.
So, so, are, so let me ask you this. Are, let's say, Igbo, Yoruba, because I know Omo Dua, let's see, who else? Benin, all these people are Ham or Bantu people?
This question is deep, brother, because I people don't like me if I do separating people, but brother, they are mixed.
Well,
They
let me tell you, so you know, I'm not going to take what we talk about it, you know, in anger or anything like that, spread a false narrative. This just between you and I,
yes.
because I am a student of family genetic history. This is really important to me outside of the Bible, outside of the biblical narrative, to understand, you know, my own family's genealogy, how we got to this place, you know. And so I use all of the information available to me in that regard. So this particular part of the conversation is between you and I. You don't necessarily have to even use Ham and Shem and those designations if you don't want. But it is my belief, and not belief, let me say, based off my research so far, I have realized that particularly, let's say, a particular branch of the Yoruba people, let's just say the Yoruba as a whole, are not from the west of Africa. And my research has led me to see they have origins in the east, primarily in the Kemet and Sudan areas, like today, Egypt, Sudan areas today.
Mm-hmm.
Then they were pushed out once the Arabs began to invade Egypt, came down across, into the west, and then settled in Ife under Oduduma. And so what I'm saying is there any validity in that, according to your own knowledge and historical knowledge from your family or anything that you have heard on a personal level?
Like I told you, we came from Egypt down. We passed. Some of us passed directly into Somalia. We passed Sudan. We have today in Sudan, the southern part of Sudan, we have Bantus over there. Do you know that?
I
So
didn't know that.
and these people in Sudan, they are persecuted and they killing them. Sudanese are fleeing from their home. They have always war there. There are many problems in Sudan. Yeah, their wives always getting raped. There are some Sudanese. They are Bantus. It's like in Somalia, we have Somalian Bantus. And like I told you, who are the Canaanites? The Canaanites came from first son of Ham, and these are Sidon, Hittite, Jebusi, Amori, Girdash, Havi, Ark, Sin, Avad, Semari, Hamati. Their location is as follows: Sidon helps to build up a temple of Solomon. Hittite, two tribes came out of Syria. Joshua 1 and 4. So these people and us, yeah, there is a big connection between them and us. A big connection. Yeah, because even Abraham came out of these people. So we have to know that. So if
Abraham came out of who?
Abraham come out of this pagan worshiping peoples there, you know.
And who would they go? Who is the people today?
I don't know really who are these people today. I never
But
asked
what
myself.
region were they in?
In Bethel, Africa. It's the most of the things passed in Central Africa to to the north and southern Africa. Inside Africa. All these things, Assyria, Babylon, all these things passed in Africa, brother. Believe me. Africa is
Okay.
big. Africa is not Africa is not America. Africa is not China. Africa is not Europe. Africa is big.
It fit all of those inside.
I tell you, easily.
Well, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you for this wonderful conversation. I want you to keep my number, please. As I continue my studies, I will be reaching out to you. I want you to know. I also make sure to subscribe to your channel, and we'll stay in contact for sure.
I would come next year
on,
or in 2 years. I will be there in America, and then people will understand these things like easily. Because people think you can build the pyramids with your own power, but they're forgetting they are gods. And this is the problem that we have today. The spiritual power, the spiritual aspect, it's with the Levites. And if the elders of the Levites do not open the ways for the spiritual aspect, like Christ says, if I go, it will be darkness. He said it very clear. If I go, it will be darkness. And this is exactly what happened to our people. They cannot do anything if the Ngunzas, if the elders, if the Zabas do not go to America and open the gates, because it's full of demonic power over there. So we have to baptize the people, and then the work will start. Yes, like I told you, if someone say he is a Hamite and he crossed over to America, once he will come back to Africa, like it is written. If a Hamite went to Europe, to Asia, to everywhere else they scattered, once they will come back. All of us went into slavery to learn. And in Israel, let me show you something. At last 3 verses. Finish this off. But if you have any other questions, you can ask, because it's very important. It's not about the heritage. I will say that again. It's not about the heritage. It's about the spirit. Now, if I go to the Bible, you can write these verses down. It's important. This is Genesis.
My brother?
Genesis.
Hold on. I'm here with my children right now.
Yes.
They need my attention.
Oh, okay.
Would you do me a huge favor?
Yes.
And text me those verses so that I could review them myself, and then I will get back to you?
Okay, no problem. I will text it to you soon.
Thank you so much, bro. Hey, I appreciate you so much for taking my call, too.
Yes. Have a good night, yo.
You too.
I will hear you soon.
Here. It's still day here, but you have a good night.
Oh, okay. Yes, I thank you.
Okay, my brother.
See you.
Okay.
Bye. Shalom. So, brothers and sisters, did you see? If we go to Genesis and 15. Genesis 15:5 says, and he brought him forth abroad and said, look now toward heaven and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. So the Most High says clear that the Israelite will be like so much as the sand of the sea. So can you count the sand of the seas? Yeah. So you're gonna see he has the Canaanites with him, and the Kenzites, and the Kadomites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, and the Amorites, the Canaanites, and Abraham was going. He came with these people out. Some of them went in with us into Egypt. They went into with us into Euphrates. They came in with us to the New Jerusalem. Here. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, Into thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt into the great river of the river of Euphrates. That's why, brothers and sisters, it's very important to understand, yeah, uh, your past. If you understand your
Okay.
past,
To add content to your channel.
yeah,
Yes, we can do that for sure. Let me just get
if you
straight to the
understand your
point.
past, you can
As a so-called
you will
African
be able to
American,
know
obviously
many
many of
things.
us, the
You
majority
know,
of us, have been totally removed from our true culture. Totally, totally,
um,
totally. When the Hebrew Israelite movement came to fruition, it was an opportunity for us to assume the journey
for
of
in much
reclaiming that
wisdom
culture.
is
Now, of
much
course, we have
grief,
the Pan African
and
movement.
he
We
that
have
increased
other
knowledge
movements within
increased
the
sorrow.
country, which
So
will
thank you.
kind of get us to that level as well. But let's focus on the Hebrew Israelite movement. In 2015, I took a DNA test. In this country, I noticed that you mentioned Tazariak from ISUPK. That whole camp is very troubled. They are filled with hate. The things that exit their mouths are very troubling. And it is sad because from the outside looking in, one would assume that they represent the entirety of all of us who have joined or who have been a part of this movement in some shape or form. I began teaching the word myself on the Study TV on YouTube. I have a channel as well, the Study TV. I did many, many episodes teaching the word. You will find that I stand alone, just like you. I present the word in a way that is very calm, serene, in a way that is very approachable. Nonetheless, when I decided to take the DNA test, it was against a lot of the camps that I'd seen who were basing their teachings off of Numbers chapter 2. You are who your father is. But they were unwilling to establish their identity through DNA testing. I believe they were afraid because they knew that somewhere in their direct paternal bloodline, there could have been a white man, a European, who was their father, and not an African man. I would be remiss and be lying to you if I told you that I wasn't a little bit nervous when I took my DNA test because I did not know who my great grandfather was. I didn't know who my great great grandfather was, my direct, paternal great grandfather, my father's 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 father. And because I didn't know in the history of our people in this country, he could have been a European man, which would have then caused me to effectively, through lineage at least, not be African and not be potentially a Hebrew Israelite. So when I took my DNA test and I got the results back, I took two from two different companies. I got the same result back from both. Turns out that my DNA from my father is indeed African, 100%. I'm very happy about that. What I also learned is that my DNA, my direct paternal bloodline, pointed me back to West Africa, okay, to Yoruba land, as well as to Benin, Togo, okay. And so what I began to do was I began to search. I began to research even greater because by this time I was very well aware of the idea, the maps from the Portuguese suggesting that this was the land of Judah and what have you, all of these different things. The same map that Tazariak presented, I have as well. So I get this notification in my inbox telling me, we have some more news for you. But let me back up before I got the notification. The very first DNA test that I took, at the same time in 2015, I was aware of a study that was released by scientists in Britain. It was a peer review pertaining to the mummy of Ramses III. They had studied his mummy, and they were able to extract his DNA, and they pulled his paternal bloodline. His paternal bloodline was E1B1A, and he had a particular SNP of M20. So what I did was I tested my bloodline to see if I also had that SNP, that marker, that identifying marker. Well, it turns out that not only was my paternal DNA 100% African, as my mother's, but my paternal DNA, as my maternal DNA is also 100% African, excuse me. My paternal DNA, however, not only pointed me back to Yoruba land, but upon further testing, it revealed that I am a direct descendant of Ramses III and his forefathers, Ramses II, the first, Seti I, and what have you. Totally blew my mind. I then had to go back into the scriptures to see if there was anything pertaining to the captivity of Egyptians. I knew that I had seen it before, and my notes are so vast that I was unable to locate it. Well, your video that a sister shared with me yesterday, I watched it this morning, and then you listed Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 26. And that is what I would like to discuss with you because, my brother, when I got my DNA tested, it revealed to me that my paternal line goes back to Kemet. My maternal line, they have classified as Bantu. So if you look at those two designations, it would appear that my paternal is Kemet, my maternal is Bantu, and it would line directly in with what you mentioned in your video pertaining to the Bantu, and I believe you said Bantu and Ham mixture that is prevalent in the Americas. I want some clarification on that because there's some very interesting revelations that I have come up with myself. Thank you very much, my brother.